What's going on, Laker fans? Welcome in. I'm Jimmy Crowther, and today we're breaking down the Lakers roster headed into next season, from LeBron James all the way down to Devontae Cacok. And you're like, who? Don't worry, we'll get there. But let's start with the surefire starters going in to next season. I think there's four. These are the four that are going to start at the beginning of the year. It's LeBron James, AD, Kyle Kuzma, and Danny Green. And it all starts with LeBron. He's going to be a big-time leader this next year. He's a veteran. He's been around. He's been inside the Lakers organization now. They know who he is, and he is one of the best players in the NBA. He's going to have to step up. Obviously, he was hurt a lot last season, but outside of that, his stats were pretty impressive. But we know what we're getting in LeBron James. Of course, the new guy coming in, it's Anthony Davis, traded from the Pelicans to the Lakers in that blockbuster deal earlier this offseason. He's going to be the long-term answer for the Lakers going forward for the rest of the future. I'm really excited to see what AD can do in LA alongside LeBron James. Their stats speak for themselves. They're two of the top 5 players in the league today, and they're on the same team. They're going to be running the show in Los Angeles. Now the third starter, Kyle Kuzma. He was more of that full-time starter last season as opposed to his rookie year, but this next year, he's going to be one of the guys, if not one of the top 3 guys on this team. The biggest question mark I have for Kuz is, will he be able to defend power forwards in the NBA that are starting alongside him? It's going to be a huge question mark for him, and so is his efficiency. That 30% from 3 is not really going to cut it if he wants to be a starter on a playoff team. He's going to have to knock down shots a lot more consistent than he has in his previous 2 years, because his shots are about to mean a whole lot more. Now, one guy that's a veteran, he's been around, he knows how much his shots mean, it's Danny Green. One of the best three-point shooters in the NBA last season, and really it consistently for a long time. A great pickup by the Lakers. Obviously, they got him after the whole Kawhi Leonard fallout, and now they bring him in. He's their starter. He's really the only true guard that's going to be in this starting 5 on a regular basis. When you look at the top 3 shooters in the NBA from last season, he was right up there. The second best three-point shooter in the league behind Joe Harris. Joe Harris, 47.4%. That's absolutely ridiculous for one thing. But Danny Green's not far behind at 45.5%. So the one thing we don't see in these 4 starters is a true point guard. There's no true point guard, but apparently LeBron James is going to be running the show in LA. So what is your confidence level in LeBron running point guard on a scale of 1 to 10? 1 being, heck no, get LeBron out of the starting point guard position, give me a true point guard. 10 being, yeah, we're going to win a title with him there. I think I'd lean closer to that 9-10 range than I would to the 1 or 2. So let's look at 3 potential starters for the Lakers next year. These are guys that'll probably cycle in and out in that 5th starting spot. It's DeMarcus Cousins, JaVale McGee, and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. And it starts with Boogie. They, of course, signed him to a 1-year deal this past summer on a low-risk, high-reward kind of minimum deal. He's going to try to get back to what he once was when he was with the Pelicans, when he was with the Sacramento Kings. And if he can, he should absolutely be that 5th starter in Los Angeles. In fact, if he's what he was in New Orleans, I'll say the Lakers are the favorites to win the NBA championship. Now, one guy that started at the center position a lot last year was JaVale McGee. Shaqtin' a Fool MVP. And he really did have one of the best years, all joking aside, of his career last year with the Lakers. I just truly believe that JaVale McGee is better suited off the bench than he is in a starting role. 12 points per game, 7.5 rebounds. Pay no attention to that 3-point percentage because he's a lob threat and he's a shot blocker. And when it comes to it, that'll be a nice little change of pace for him to come off the bench and maybe start on certain nights. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Now, they did bring him back. He's been super inconsistent his entire career since he was with Detroit. But on the right night, he could be the right 5th starter alongside LeBron, AD, Kuzma, and Danny Green. Needs to step up and be a little bit more consistent from beyond the 3-point arc. But defensively, he can get it done, and he can guard positions from the 2, the 3, sometimes even some bigger point guards. But who do you think needs to be that 5th starter in Los Angeles? Who is Frank Vogel going to slip in there with LeBron, AD, and the rest of the crew? Let me know in the comments section. Now, here are some role players, guys that probably shouldn't start, but that will get consistent minutes off the bench. Quinn Cook, excellent shooter. Avery Bradley, excellent defender. Rajon Rondo, excellent floor general. Well, let's take a closer look at Quinn Cook. They obviously stole him from the Golden State Warriors this offseason as a free agent. And man, off the bench, the dude can light it up from beyond the three-point arc. He can run the point guard position, or he can play off the ball and be a two guard. I think this is one of the most underrated signings of the offseason by any team. Not just the Lakers, by any team. I like Quinn Cook a lot. Another guy they brought in was Avery Bradley. Look, he's not the same player he once was. He's not the big-time draft pick that he was supposed to be out of Texas, but he's still a pretty good defender. He can be a little bit underrated if that defense steps up, and he became a bit more of a consistent three-point shooter last season in his time with Memphis. I like the Avery Bradley pickup. I think he'll be just fine in Los Angeles. Rajon Rondo, a familiar face among the Laker organization. They brought him back, and really, he can be a valuable defender. He can still run the point. He had a bit of an up-and-down season last year. He only played in 46 games. But when you need a floor general, when you need some guy to go out there and run the point that's not LeBron, Rondo makes a lot of sense. Also, the dude can throw a punch. We know that. So here's the question. Who should be the primary backup point guard now? Should it be Quinn Cook or should it be Rajon Rondo? With Cook, you get the offense, you get the three-point shooting, you get all that, you get a guy that can play off the ball. If you want Rondo in there, you get a floor general, a smart passer, and a little bit better of a defender. Now let's take a look at the end of the bench because they did kind of add some pieces to fill out the rest of the roster with Troy Daniels. Of course, they have Alex Caruso, Jared Dudley, and then they drafted Talen Horton-Tucker. Let's take a closer look at Troy Daniels. Of course, they signed him because the dude can shoot. When the Lakers need a three-pointer, this is a guy they're going to put into the lineup. He's not going to get consistent minutes. There's going to be some nights where he doesn't even play. But I do believe that this is one of those end-of-the-bench guys that can eventually crack the regular rotation if his three-point shot is starting to fall. Outside of that, he doesn't provide a whole lot. You see what he did last season with Phoenix, of course, the lottery-bound team. 6 points per game, not a lot of rebounds, not a lot of assists at all, but the three-point percentage at nearly 40% is nice to add to any team. Now let's talk about Alex freaking Caruso. He had some really fun moments near the end of the year last season. I mean, heck, he put up like 25 points in one game or 35 or something ridiculous. He is absolutely a good third-string point guard. You don't ever want him as your starting point guard or really even as your second-string guy, but if you need someone to come off the bench late in games or when someone gets hurt, Alex Caruso can do that. You see what he did last year in his limited time with the Lakers. Of course, he spent a lot of that time in the G League. And what sticks out to you is that 48% from three. He didn't take a whole lot because he didn't get a chance to, but when he took them, he made them. Jared Dudley. Now, a goofy-looking dude, but he's a good locker room guy. He's a good guy to have on the bench. He's going to be fun. He's going to go out and kind of be a pest when you need him to. He's not really a great three-point shooter like he once was. I think he's hovering around that 33 to 34% mark. But when you need a veteran, Jared Dudley knows what he's doing out on the court. Now, from a veteran to one of the youngest guys in this last year's draft, Talen Horton-Tucker. I was actually really high on the guy going into the draft, and then he slipped all the way to the second round. I think he's going to be a steal for the Lakers because of that ridiculous wingspan and the high upside he has as a defensive player in the NBA. So that's the end of the bench. And the end of the bench starts with Alex Caruso. So here's a simple question. Is Alex Caruso the GOAT? Type Y for yes, type A for absolutely, and type N for no doubt. Because there's no doubt about it, Alex Caruso is the GOAT, the greatest player of all time. Let me know in the comment section. So now let's talk about the two guys they brought in on two-way contracts. Zach Norvell Jr. and Kostas Antetokounmpo. These were their summer league stats. They don't really stick out to you a whole lot, but it's at least worth mentioning. Now, Zach Norvell Jr., of course, went undrafted in this last year's draft. They just went out and got him on their own. I really liked him. He's a consistently good floor spacer. He can knock down the three ball, and he can bring an offensive punch to literally any team he goes to. Whether it's in Los Angeles or he's playing with the G League, he's going to be a good offensive player, and I think he can develop quite nicely in Los Angeles. Now, Kostas Antetokounmpo. They, of course, got waived by the Dallas Mavericks and got claimed off waivers by the Lakers quite quickly. Look, Antetokounmpo never should have come out of college when he was in Dayton, but he did. And it caused him to spend a lot of time in the G League, and I think he's going to spend a lot of time in the G League next year as well. I wouldn't expect a whole lot out of Kostas, but because of his last name, he's going to be fun to pay attention to. Now, how many games, he only played in 2 last year, how many NBA games will Kostas play in next season? If the Lakers lock up a roster spot early on, maybe he plays in like 5 to 10. But I think that's the ceiling for Kostas Antetokounmpo. But let me know what you think. Maybe you disagree with Hater Jimmy on this one. Let me know in the comments section. So let's focus on the 3 guys that you probably don't know a whole lot about. Aric Holman, Devontae Cacok, and Jordan Caroline. 3 guys that are on Exhibit 10 contracts that are going to be camp invites for the Lakers. Let's look at Aric Holman out of Mississippi State. He spent 4 years there, so you know he is an established kind of rookie veteran, if that makes sense. And he's a really good shooter. At 6'10", becoming a floor spacer in the NBA today is just absolutely valuable. I think his efficiency, though, is the most impressive part of his game. His summer league stats, they don't really speak to that efficiency, though. He only put up 4.5 points per game, 3.8 rebounds, and 26% from the field, but he's going to get his shot in training camp. Now, Devontae Cacok. Look, it says center because the guy is listed as a center, but he's 6'7". He was an incredible rebounder in college. He had an elite post game, and he's a high-energy guy that literally is always going to be crashing the boards. In the summer league, that rebounding showed up. 11.8 points per game, 9 rebounds, and 62% from the field. A 6'7" guy playing the center position. That's what he did. I'm excited to see what this guy can do when it comes down to training camp. Now the last guy, Jordan Caroline, another guy that went undrafted in the 2019 NBA draft. I thought he should have been picked up, but he wasn't. He had an incredible summer league, and really I believe that this guy is going to make it in the NBA someday. Maybe it's with the Lakers, maybe it's with somebody else, but his first chance is going to be in LA. 16 points per game, 3.5 rebounds, 50% from the field during Las Vegas Summer League. I like Jordan Caroline a lot. I think he's going to get a legitimate shot at getting the last roster spot in Los Angeles. They left one open. They've got one guaranteed roster spot open in Los Angeles. So who do you think should get it? Maybe it's Andre Iguodala. Maybe it's Jordan Caroline. Whoever it is, let me know in the comment section.